Hello and welcome. My name is Joy Koff, and I am the owner of Miracles of Joy here in Louisville, Texas. And today I am so excited to be able to interview a psychic medium in the area and introduce you to her. Her name is Tracey Escobar. Hi, Tracey.
Hello, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So let's get started. I want to kind of dig in deep and find out your background and how you got started in this. How did you get started as a psychic medium?
So, to be honest, I think I've always been attracted to the metaphysical and especially death because I lost my dad suddenly at the age of 19. But it didn't really come on until later in life. So, it wasn't until probably about 5 years ago that I started noticing my own awareness and things started happening. And then I started searching for answers. I was desperately searching for something more to life than what was going on in my life at the moment. And I ended up at the door of Miracles of Joy. And that's how it all started. Yes. Started taking classes.
So let me ask this question. You've said, have you been doing this professionally for about 5 years or longer?
So no, I've been in development. So for me, it started later in life. So
okay.
I've only been in development for 4 years and professionally too. So I'm pretty young at this, but my development started quickly and I hit the ground running, and I've done a lot with my development in the 4 years, but professionally now 2 years.
Okay, so that's great. So I'm going to talk a little bit about your mentorship because you have studied extensively mediumship.
Yes.
So let's talk about your background and who you've studied with.
Sure. So in the beginning, I took a 0 to Psychic class with Chuck Murphy. And I know he's a part of the Miracles of Joy team. So that was amazing. But right after that class, I found myself at Arthur Findlay College in England. And that's where my development really began. I've been there 5 times already. It's an amazing place, amazing energy, somewhere you can go spend 6 days on your craft. Had some amazing tutors and amazing teachers. I've had a private mentorship with professional psychic medium Colby Rebel in Los Angeles. And then I've also gone through 2 certification processes with Lisa Williams International School of Spiritual Development. And so I'm certified as a psychic under her program and a psychic medium under her program. So I've done a lot.
I know of Lisa Williams and I know of the Arthur Findlay College because there's a lot of people. I mean, it's been around. The building, if I'm not mistaken, is from the early 1800s.
Yes, it's old, but it's amazing. Yes, and it was left to the spiritualist community, and they created a college, and it's just amazing. If anybody ever has a chance to go, I suggest you go.
So I understand that you call yourself a red couch psychic. What is a red couch psychic?
So I got the name the Red Couch Medium because, it's medium. So I'll tell you kind of the story of how it came about. Like before I even knew I had abilities, I started having, again, this all goes back to about 4 years ago. I started having prolific dreams that were coming true. Just weird stuff started happening. And one day I was out on a hike with my friend, my boyfriend at the time, and randomly out of nowhere, I said, wouldn't it be weird if a red couch was in the middle of the woods? Because it's a wooded hike. And of course, he looked at me strange. I thought that was strange. I don't know where that inspiration came from, but it did. Nothing happened. And about, let's say, a week and a half later, my washing machine broke. And that forced me to have to go to the laundromat. And while we were at the laundromat, my boyfriend was with me. We decided to go for a walk. And around the building, there's a big open field and it backs up to a lake near Little Elm. Right when we walked around the building, there was an abandoned red couch. So that was my sign. That's where it all came from. I was like, there's no coincidences. And I just connected all the dots. And so that's where it all came from.
So let me ask you a question. How do you connect with your guides?
So I do a lot of meditation. I think meditation is the absolute key. And every tutor I've ever had has always said meditation is the key to everything. So I really do force myself to have a meditative practice every week. I try to do it daily. I try to have that personal relationship with my guides. I also do, in England, they have a thing called sitting in the power. And that's something that mediums do just to build their power, to be able to stay in the energy longer. So I do practice that as well. And so those are all the things I do to just kind of get ready. And that's the key. If I could tell anybody that wanted to start any kind of development, is you have to have a meditative practice.
So my next question is going to be, what motivates you to do this work?
Yep. So because I lost my dad at a young age, I know what that's like in grief. And I didn't see my first medium until probably 5.5 years ago. And that experience changed my life. Mm-hmm. I discovered personally the healing power of mediumship. So I decided that's what I wanted to do. That's my passion. I want to show people that there is life after death. There's more to this universe than what we see physically. My tagline is, I want to offer hope, healing, and empowerment. That's my goal.
So what kind of sessions do you offer?
So I do either 30-minute or hour sessions, just because I want to be conscious of price and cost for people. I want to give someone an option. Mm-hmm. I do either psychic readings. I can do a mediumship reading. I can blend them together and do kind of what we call a hybrid, where we do both a psychic and a medium. And then I'm also trained as a theta practitioner. So I can do a theta session with someone. And usually those I try to do for an hour, just because we're trying to work with belief systems and things like that. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So one of the questions I'm going to ask about that, because, some people may not know what theta healing is. So let's dig a little deeper of what is theta healing to you and how does that benefit someone?
So my take from the theta is to get into that state of mind where you're in the theta state, where you can actually go and change belief systems at a higher conscious level. So if I'm working with someone one-on-one, we can discover what beliefs they have and what's keeping them from moving on in life and growing. And I can go in through a theta state and try to change that for them from a healing perspective on a higher level. It's kind of complicated, I know,
mm-hmm.
but it works, right? And so when we go up there, we go up through the theta, they call them the levels. You go up there and you connect directly to source and you work on healing those things that they need to have healed. And so that's kind of what I think it is. And it's all about belief systems. It's all about changing mindsets.
So one of the things that I mentioned when people are doing theta is, do you have, like when I talk to customers or clients that come in the front door, I said, do you have the same thing happening over and over again? Who's the common denominator in that happening?
Right.
And then so what on a subconscious level are you creating in your life, and what do you need to change about that subconscious level?
That's perfect. You worded it much better than I did. That's perfect. Yes, it's exactly what it is. Let's change that.
How should a client prepare for a session with you? Is there something that they should do? Should they have a list of questions before they come in? What is it that, what should they do to prepare for a session with you?
So for me, I don't have to have questions. I'd prefer not. I prefer to let it all be organic. All I ask of a client is to be open-minded. Don't come in with set in stone expectations. When we're working with the spirit world, what may be important to my client may not be as important to the deceased loved one that's crossed over. So if someone comes in saying, I'll know it's him if he says this word, that's really putting in an expectation on the situation that I can't probably meet. So I just ask that someone comes in with an open heart, an open mind, be willing to open up to me, and let's share an experience together. I have no idea what's going to happen before a session. We totally walk in not knowing how it's going to go. So it's just as much an experience for me as it is for them. And it's something that we share together, and it's sacred.
So I know that you've also created an oracle deck. Is that correct?
I did. You know what? Through my healing process, because let's face it, when people have gifts, it's okay to have gifts and it's okay to develop. But I believe part of that development is self-transformation and healing. I think that's the journey, really. And so a part of my healing process was creating those cards. And for me, it was a creative outlet. But also every month I dedicated 4 cards to my deck and creating them and coming up with the ideas. But for me, it was so personal because it was part of my healing as well. So I know I call them messages from above. So it's like, what guidance would our loved ones who have crossed over give us now from their perspective is kind of what the deck is about. It's showing advice from a higher perspective and not so much earthbound stuff.
So tell me, what are some of the feedback that you receive from clients after a session?
I get a lot of great feedback. People are kind of amazed at some of the stuff I could come up with. They're shocked. I get a lot of crying, so I always forget to have tissue. I do. So I get a lot of healing. It's so powerful. And that's why I love the mediumship part. It's just so powerful. Just helping people push through some of that stuff and being able to connect a loved one that maybe they had some unresolved issues with, and being able, because I believe healing is about the sitter in front of me. It's healing me, the medium, and it's healing the spirit above. So it's a whole healing process that goes on. So I think it's pretty magical.
I always tell people, especially those that cry, and sometimes they apologize for crying. And I always say that's the heart chakra clearing itself.
Exactly. That's healing happening right there. Just let it flow. That's healing happening.
So do you offer any kind of workshops?
You know what? I'm starting to develop them. Right now, I just created an online psychic development workshop. It's a 90-day program. I'm taking the ideas. I have a lot of people who sit in front of me saying they're blocked. So I've decided to create a workshop surrounded. What does blocked really mean? And kind of let's break down those blocks. People don't know how to identify what they are. So let's identify the blocks and let's break them down. So I'm creating a workshop around that. I've also created a workshop around building your clairs boot camp, right? So for people who are trying to develop their psychic or their mediumship, the clairs is how they all communicate, and that's where we're getting all information. So I try to come up with a boot camp to give us all kinds of exercises to help strengthen that. We're all predominantly dominant in one clair, but we may not be in another, and we really need all of them to be able to deliver a message, right? It's like playing charades and being an interpreter for the spirit world to be able to develop a message. And so using all your clairs and putting them all together. So that's another workshop I've been doing.
So when you say clairs, can you specify that for someone who may be listening and not understand the different aspects of that?
Yes, absolutely. So the clairs are your senses, and clair actually means clear. So let's say clairvoyant would be clear seeing, clairaudient would be clear hearing, clairsentient is clear sensing. So those are the senses. There's taste, there's smell. So using all your senses, and then we put clair in front of it. So clear, whatever. Yep.
Perfect. Yeah. So have you been pulled to travel anywhere? Like, I know that you mentioned you went to England. Have you been to other places as well to study?
So I've been to England several times, and then I've been to LA. LA is another go-to place for me. I'm actually going again this weekend. I have a mentor there that does classes, and I go and I try to brush up. My goal is to be a platform medium where I stand up in front of an audience and deliver messages. So that's my goal this year. So I do a lot of LA travel. This year, I'm also going to New York to study directly with Lisa Williams. I signed up for a private mentorship with her. So I'll be traveling to Lilydale. So excited about that. Yeah, I love where it all takes me. Yeah, just can't wait to see what the future holds.
So where's your favorite place to travel?
Oh, I love England. I love it. If I could go, last year I went twice. Yeah, so I had to say, okay, this year I'm not going, but it's killing me inside. I usually go every April. So this year I'm not going to go, but I love it. It's so beautiful. And because I'm a medium over there, it's normal to have mediums over there. Like that's part of their spiritual church is to be a medium. And it's just, you feel like home. I just love it. I love there. The grounds are beautiful. There's wild horses on the ground. It's just beautiful. I love going over there.
I know my goal is to see how they teach physical mediumship.
I'm going with you.
I do physical mediumship, and I really want to learn, from a spiritualist church. How do they see it? How do they view it?
Yes, so I'm down to go with you because I've never seen it
Okay.
myself. I'm down. Yes, let's do it.
So, what advice would you give someone who wants to pursue being a medium?
So you can go from my experience. I'd say get involved in the community. Find a place where you can practice. Find a place where you can meet people. I mean, 4 years ago, I never ever thought I'd be friends with a medium, and now my whole entire Facebook is filled with mediums across the whole entire world. So you can make it happen. So get plugged in somewhere. I think that's the most important. Surround yourself with the people who do it so you can learn from them. Mm-hmm. Also, I think be patient in your development. I think it's all a process and you're exactly where you are meant to be at that particular moment, and don't try to rush it because it's a journey of transformation. Mm-hmm. So if I had one advice for brand new mediums starting out, be patient. Don't try to rush it. That's what I'd say.
I always tell people it's not like trying to learn on this realm. It's not like you take this class, that class, this class, that class, and wow, you've graduated.
Exactly. It's a journey. And you know what? The spirit world is funny. I mean, when I first started, I guess because they were trying to get my attention, they were loud and clear. Mm-hmm. Now it comes in so subtly that my development is, I'm constantly developing. I'm constantly, okay, what was that feeling? I'm trying to figure it out now. Uh-huh. So in the beginning, it's loud and clear, but as you develop, it gets more and more subtle. So it's always a learning process. You're always learning. You're always on this path of unfolding. It's like a rose. It just keeps, the petals just keep coming. So I love it.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Tracey. It's been great.
Thank you for having me.
I'll look forward to some classes that we do in the future.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.